When I was little, my father was famous. He was the greatest samurai in the empire. He cut off the heads of 131 lords.
Hey everybody, Jerry Williams, aka Greater Sapien here. Thanks for stopping by. Today we have two more claims from Dubé's 200 Proofs Earth is Not a Spinning Ball, numbers 142 and 143. 142. People claim that if the Earth were flat, they should be able to use a telescope and see clear across the oceans. This is absurd, however, as the air is full of precipitation, especially over the oceans, and especially at the lowest, densest layer of atmosphere, is not transparent. Picture the blurry haze over the roads on hot, humid days. Even the best telescope will blur out long before you could see across an ocean. You can, however, use a telescope to zoom in much more of our flat Earth than should be possible on a ball 25,000 miles in circumference. Hey, so this is supposed to be proofs the Earth is not a spinning ball, right? So why is this claim that people are wrong about what would happen on a flat Earth here? That's not proof against the globe. It's a lame attempt to support a flat Earth, but the problem is, in doing so, you admit facts like an atmospheric gradient that flat earthers have no explanation for. And while I agree that there would be far too much atmosphere to penetrate in order to see something across the oceans, and due to the actual rules of perspective, anything that far away would have the angular size of 1,000th of a degree, we should be able to see things that are, say, 25 or 30 miles away. After all, when the sun sets over water, we can see that quite clearly, even though in your mind, it's many thousands of miles away. Yet structures between the sun and the viewer are only seen if they are close enough to be above the horizon on a globe model. At least a couple dozen of your previous claims were all about something that can be seen from too far away, so this proof brings nothing new. You've claimed that entire mountains from base to summit are visible from over 100 miles away. Through all that dense atmosphere, yet structures between the viewer and the supposed base of the mountain cannot be seen. But, like I said, this isn't really a claim against the globe, even though you stuck a little something on the end there. And I'm not going to address that because I've already done that many times over. 143. People claim that if the Earth were flat, with the sun circling over and around us, we should be able to see the sun from everywhere, all over the Earth, and there should be daylight even at nighttime. Since the sun is not 93 million miles away, but rather just a few thousand and shining down like a spotlight, once it has moved significantly far enough away from your location, it becomes invisible beyond the horizon, and daylight slowly fades until it completely disappears. If the sun were 93 million miles away and Earth a spinning ball, the transition from daylight to night would instead be almost instantaneous as you passed the terminator line. Alrighty, I've discussed this topic before, but let's see if I can approach it a little differently this time. First, there should be daylight even at nighttime doesn't make sense. Better to say daytime would be endless. Let's ignore the distance claim for a moment and point out the lack of evidence or even a theorized mechanism to support the claim of a sun that shines like a spotlight. A spotlight that acts like no spotlight we've ever encountered. A spotlight would appear as a circle when seen straight on, but once it moved off center, it would skew into an ever-narrowing oval. Dubé claims the sun appears to set due to perspective, yet it does not appear smaller as it gets farther away. Before any of you idiots try to post a video showing the contrary, I can tell you right now that every video you link to will show a sun that appears large on camera due to the glare, and as the glare diminishes with the sunset, the sun only appears to shrink. In actuality, it was always that small. If you follow the sun with a good solar filter, that effect is erased. But let's play the what if game for a moment, Eric. Even though, once again, this is not evidence against the globe. Let's say the sun is somewhere around 5,000 kilometers from the surface of the Earth, and it's about 50 kilometers wide. That would give it somewhere around the same angular size that we see it at. Not quite, but somewhere in there. That's at high noon. Let's agree that the sun gets far enough away to get close enough to the horizon to appear to disappear behind it. Let's say the increasing distance causes the diminishment of light that makes the transition of darkness a slow event until the sun vanishes, causing night. Let's presuppose all that is true. What do those numbers look like? Let's see. At high noon, the sun 5,000 kilometers overhead and about half a degree wide visually. The sky is bright and we have the full heat of the sun. 3 hours later, the sun is at 45 degrees. To make 45 degrees over a flat plane, the sun would have moved to above a spot for that 5,000 kilometers away on the ground and would be over 7,000 kilometers away from the observer, direct line. It would look half the size it did before. The local light would noticeably be half as bright, and there would be half the heat hitting us directly from the sun. 3 p.m. would be kind of chilly. 3 hours later, it would be at the horizon, disappearing due to perspective, according to your claims. But let's look at the numbers as the sun sets, starting at about 5 degrees above the horizon. In order to be 5 degrees above the horizon for the observer, the sun would have to be a whopping 57,368 kilometers directly away, floating 5,000 kilometers above some spot that's 57,150 kilometers away on the ground. In order to be 4 degrees above the horizon to the observer, the sun would have to be over 71,000 kilometers away. Do I need to go on? Pad the video a bit more? Okay, let's just skip to 1 degree above the horizon. We've all seen the sun just before it sets away. Well, to be 1 degree above the horizon and still 5,000 kilometers above a flat Earth, the sun would have to be over 286,000 kilometers away, and still right above someone 6 time zones over. At that distance, a 50-kilometer wide sun would be a flickering dot like all the other stars, because when a bright object goes beyond the limit of human vision, it doesn't become invisible. It becomes unresolvable. That's how perspective and vision work. If the sun were reaching the limit of our visual perception, it would be a twinkling dot of light. Yet, in reality, the sun is as large and visible as ever 1 degree above the horizon, isn't it? On a flat Earth, the brightness of the sun would diminish every minute past high noon, as each additional kilometer would be a high percentage distance compared to the accepted model. You claim if the Earth were a globe, the transition from daylight to night would instead be almost instantaneous as you pass the terminator line. But that just shows you don't understand again how light works. Since the sun is millions of miles away, throughout a good portion of the day, the amount of light striking a given area of the planet is about the same. But when, due to the Earth's rotation, the angle of the surface spreads that same amount of light over a wider area, the brightness begins to diminish. This causes a subtle transition into darkness and not an abrupt change at the terminator line. Anyone can shine a light on a ball and see that that is true. The subtle change at the terminator line is readily apparent. So you're either lying again, Eric, or too lazy to shine a light on a ball to confirm your own claim. So, for those of you who got this far into the video, tell me in the comments, lying or lazy?
That's my job! That's what I do! I don't lose! I win! Is there no one on this planet to even challenge me?
Maybe you came by to congratulate me on last night's victory.